bookshelf. Okay, bookshelf tour. I think it's 45.5. I got caught up in a little cascade of stuff of me talking about how Gene Wolfe was old-fashioned kind of writer because, well, you can't be an old-fashioned writer nowadays because it's new days, and you can't. You have to be your own brand manager and all that stuff and put yourself forward. No one will publish you, or you can publish yourself, but no one will actually notice you're there. Let me just finish off with another author that I bought a book of and I haven't read. But this one I have better excuse for, and you can see it right there. That's the excuse. It is Tad Williams, who I have actually listened to one of his books on audio, and it was probably 48 hours long, as is this thing. Tad Williams is a fantasy and science fiction author who writes behemoths. This is his preferred form, is doing books that are um, at least over 500. This one is 796 pages, so just short of 800. And for the most part, I avoid authors like that because I find a lot of times they're authors whose just mode of storytelling is just, if it's not long-winded, it's so spread out, and it's so it has that's a certain taste of people who just want books that are probably faster reader, much faster readers than I am. I'm quite a slow reader. If I get through one novel, kind of regular sized novel, in a week, that's pretty impressive versus people who would get through stuff like that in a day or two. That's not me. It's just, that's the speed I read. That's the amount of time I have for reading. But I really did enjoy. I can't even remember the book. It was more of a cyberpunk one, which is probably, I read it, and it's probably the first in a series, and I couldn't find any more audio things of it. And it was like, if I pick up a hard copy of it, like, will I actually get through it, or will I drift off, or just it'll take me so long to read. By the time I get to the end of it, I have to have like a concerted reading program for stuff like that. But I did pick up Shadow March by Tad Williams, which I hopefully, for generations, the misty shadow lines has marked the boundary between the lands of men and northern lands that are the lair of the inhuman enemies, the ageless Quar. But now that boundary line is moving outwards, threatening to engulf the northernmost land which humans still live, the kingdom of South March. So, to me, that sounds sort of like your standard fantasy stuff, but I know that Tad Williams is a really good writer. At least he was in the one that I think was set in like South Africa. It was interesting kind of cyberpunky-ish stuff, done on that kind of size of stuff. So yeah, I've got that here appropriately enough. Well, W's, I guess, but also just appropriately with Gene Wolfe, because it's just another author that I have to decide whether it's worth it to me. Sometimes it's just like it's investment. It's like when you start writing really thick books like this, for me, that means you have to be spectacularly good, or else I say thank you, but I have lots of so much stuff to read that I have to kind of triage, um, you know, which is just the way, or that they're on audiobook. Brandon Sanderson, his latest series, which I'm completely blanking on the name now. The God damn it, not the Mistborn series, but the most recent one, which I cannot remember the name of. It'll come to me after I turn off the thing. That one I really enjoy, but it's very available on audiobook, and audiobook is somewhere where I can kind of ka-chung through a lot in a fairly quick way. I can keep the whole book in my mind. And Brandon Sanderson's actually, his storytelling has been fairly efficient, fairly it works well. He's not super dense language, which super dense language in audiobooks is not great, because you want to kind of be able to go back and kind of forth and reread stuff. Whereas an audiobook, a constant flow, you want more of the storyteller, the guy who's got like, good prose, kind of clear prose, which is a talent in itself. I think Tad Williams is sort of like that as well. So yes, I don't know. I'm probably more likely to pick up one of Gene Wolfe's books and read it than I am the Tad Williams. So yeah, that was a very short, though 5 minute long bookshelf tour of one book, Shadow March by Tad Williams, which, yes, I would have to investigate and be in a certain frame, a certain place in my life to be able to pick up and read. And we shall see if that place comes along or if it just ends up getting passed. I obviously did pick it up at a library sale. I think that's why I probably picked it up. I probably picked it up for 50 cents. So the no, not much monetary investment. It'd just be my time investment is the thing for me to think about. But I've heard really good things about him, so it's not a diss on him. All right, I'll leave it there.